As they departed for their respective bases, one of the recruits told Kim to contact him once he arrived. The recruit couldn't understand why Kim would volunteer for a place that everyone else wanted to avoid, but Kim simply replied that his goals were beyond their comprehension. Kim found himself alone soon after, but his solitude was short-lived as a massive truck arrived to pick him up. Mage, a member of the 104th Hunter Division, was there to receive him. Mage apologized for the delay caused by the snow and informed Kim that they were headed to the squad. Kim climbed into the back of the truck, wondering if he was really starting his life as a soldier. He was prepared for the challenges that lay ahead, such as tough training and frequent battles with monsters. However, there was one thing he was worried about: hazing. Kim wasn't sure if he could handle it right now, but he knew he had no choice but to endure it. If he were to strike a superior even once, he could end up in military prison as a regular soldier. It was a risk he couldn't afford to take. After arriving at the 2nd Battalion of the Invincible Hunter Corps where it was snowing heavily, Mage brought Kim to his seniors' room and instructed them to take care of him. Kim's seniors were thrilled to see a new recruit and eagerly asked for his name. When Kim revealed his name, they couldn't help but ask if he was the rumored super soldier who defeated a hound on his own. Suddenly, one of the seniors threw Kim's bag and told his roommate to unpack his stuff. Kim couldn't help but wonder if these were the leaders of the dormitory, as they looked at him with a gleeful expression, almost as if they had just discovered a new toy. Despite feeling uneasy about the situation, Kim knew he would have to endure whatever hazing they had in store for him if he wanted to succeed in the military. One of the senior members approached Kim and asked him why he chose to come to the front, even though he could have gone to the rear if his scores were good. Kim replied by stating that he had heard that the front line was the best place to gain real experience, and the fastest way to advance in his career. The senior member then asked Kim to showcase his talent. At this point, Kim wondered if displaying his talent would make any difference, but he decided to go ahead and show them his skills anyway. Kim told his seniors that he would demonstrate his ability to do one-finger push-ups. Initially, one of the senior members became angry, stating that they could do that all day long. However, another senior member encouraged Kim to show his talent. After witnessing Kim's one-finger push-up, they were amazed to find out that he was actually performing a one-finger vertical push-up. As they watched Kim perform his impressive one-finger push-up, one of the senior members turned to the other and asked if they had anyone in their platoon who could do the same. The second senior member responded, suggesting that Sergeant Lee Sungo might be capable of such a feat. Coincidentally, at that very moment, Sergeant Lee Sungo entered the room and rudely dismissed the group, telling them to leave. Kim immediately recognized the sergeant's voice, realizing that it was indeed Sergeant Lee Sungo. The sudden interruption by Sergeant Lee Sungo left the readers wondering what might happen next. Perhaps he had other plans for Kim and the other soldiers, or maybe he was simply not pleased with their activities. Whatever the reason, the readers were left with a sense of anticipation and uncertainty as to what would happen next. As the chapter came to a close, it was clear that the story was far from over, and there were many more twists and turns to come. As Sergeant Lee entered the room, he was greeted by some of Kim's seniors who questioned why he was pretending to be exhausted when he was just dispatched as an instructor. One of them even insinuated that he earned a vacation for tormenting kids and asked how many days he got this time. Angered by their accusations, Sergeant Lee responded firmly, "I got 4 days, okay? Stop pestering and leave me alone." However, one of the seniors retorted that he was such a party pooper that they were going to leave anyway. Another senior even went so far as to insult him, calling him a son of a bitch and his finger at him. Despite feeling provoked, Sergeant Lee knew that he couldn't beat them up and told himself to stay calm. Finally, the seniors left, and Kim thought to himself that they had finally gone. Soon after, Sergeant Lee lay in his bed, scrolling through a video on his phone that showed the volcanic dungeons and the constant damage caused by their naturally high temperature. As Sergeant Lee watched, Kim couldn't help but think about the vast difference in ranks, even in such a tiny space, and how it's not like the 80s anymore. Feeling a sense of responsibility towards Kim, Sergeant Lee immediately called Dong Jin, who Kim reported to. and instructed him to make sure to properly instruct Kim since he was Dongjin's direct junior. Dongjin introduced himself to Kim and suggested they talk over some food. He even received a special permit to visit the retail store so that they could enjoy a meal together. However, when Kim heard this, he couldn't help but think that he couldn't even go to retail stores as he wished. Upon arriving at the retail store, Dongjin told Kim to pick out whatever he wanted to eat and assured him that he could eat as much as he liked. Kim was surprised and asked if Dongjin was sure, saying that he ate a lot. Dongjin replied, "Of course, pick whatever you want, eat as much as you like." However, when the retailer told Dongjin the total cost of their purchase was 300,000 won, Dongjin began shaking as he handed over his card. The retailer noticed and asked if Dongjin was cold, and why he was shaking so much. As they began their meal, Dongjin urged Kim to savor every bite of his food. Kim, curious about the rules surrounding the retail store, asked Dongjin about the special permit he had mentioned earlier. Dongjin replied that only privates first class and below were limited to visiting the store on weekends. Furthermore, there were restrictions on the use of other facilities as well. Gyms were available only to privates first class or above, while PC rooms required a rank of at least corporal. Kim was taken aback by these limitations and exclaimed that it was insane that only corporals and above could use PC rooms. Dongjin sympathized with him but explained that it was not something a private first class like him could resolve. Kim asked if there was any way to change the situation, to which Dongjin replied that he would need to advance to the rank of at least a sergeant to even attempt it, though that would not be easy. Feeling frustrated, Kim thought to himself that this was crossing the line, and there had to be another way besides advancing in rank. Dongjin cautioned him that becoming a sergeant in the Hunter Corps was no easy task, and he had failed the advancement exam many times, resulting in him remaining a private first class for 3 years already. Determined to help Dongjin, Kim pledged to get promoted quickly so he could bring Dongjin up with him. As Kim and Dongjin were chatting, another sergeant named Guangshik joined them. Guangshik asked who they had there, a new recruit and a private first class, and if they were enjoying some delicious food. Dongjin invited Guangshik to join them. To their surprise, the sergeant didn't refuse the offer and joined them. Kim couldn't help but feel annoyed that as soon as he was done talking, someone else showed up. However, he decided to put it aside and focus on the conversation at hand. As they enjoyed their meal, Sergeant Guangshik mentioned that he wouldn't say anything about their conversation, but warned them that if they were useless during the firearms training tomorrow, they would both be in trouble. He made it clear that being new was not an excuse for poor performance, and asked Kim if he knew how to shoot. Dongjin reassured the sergeant that he was just about to explain the firearms training to Kim. He explained that it was a bit different at their base compared to other places. As Sergeant Guangshik questioned Dongjin about his performance, he asked if he had overstepped his boundaries and if Dongjin thought he was overly concerned. Dongjin quickly replied with an apology, and assured the sergeant that he had not overstepped his boundaries. Sergeant Guangshik continued to question Dongjin, asking why he was still a private first class if he was doing so well. He wondered if Dongjin thinks all of the advancement examiners were stupid. Kim couldn't help but think to himself that the sergeant was a pain in the ass. He decided to take matters into his own hands, and used his dark magic power on the sergeant. As a result, Sergeant Guangshik suddenly felt uncomfortable and started to inspect the food, wondering if it was expired. Dongjin noticed the sudden change in the sergeant's behavior, and asked if everything was okay. The sergeant brushed it off, insisting that it was nothing, and quickly left the area. Kim was pleased with the results of his E-rank corruption skill, realizing that it could be useful in situations like this. Kim was curious about the firearms training that Dongjin had mentioned earlier. Dongjin explained that they would be using bullets with even higher power than the ICM bullets that they had used before. The improved conventional munitions known as ICM had been used by the Hunter Corps against large monsters, and the bullets they would be using at the training center were like a wild stallion in comparison. Dongjin warned Kim that the recoil and sound of the gunfire would be much different than what he was used to, but reassured him that it was important to have strong firepower when dealing with monsters. Kim thought to himself that the comparison of a pony and a wild stallion was fitting, and he was excited for the training tomorrow. He also remembered the long-range weapons he had used in Isgard and thought they must be equivalent to an elephant in comparison to the wild stallion bullets. Nevertheless, Kim was looking forward to the training and was more than happy with the prospect of using wild stallion bullets.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below with your thoughts or any questions you have. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. Also, feel free to share this video with friends who might enjoy it. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.